I'm 41, I make documentaries, and I've born and live in Tehran. I don't know if I really chose to be a director. That was a language that I learned to speak from a very early age, because I was born in a family that my father was a filmmaker, and that was exactly the language I started to express myself. But I started making documentaries from a very early age, and when you live in a society like Iran, that you think it's a very alive society, there's so much to record and so much to document, then you really take your job very seriously. So that's how I became a documentary filmmaker. Well, at the end, we're all making personal films, but I'm not really, I'm not trying to make personal films. What I'm trying to do is just record and document as much as I can. And sometimes the medium is cinema, sometimes you really think that you just need to record things as they are, like the two books that I just gave to Nawal. These are different mediums of documentations, not only cinema. Depends on the project, that what is the best way of documenting them. Sometimes it's cinema, sometimes it's not. All these projects that are non-films, like the books and the other ones, these are the projects that you think the medium of cinema is too limited, because you always have to, like this interview that we're doing now, there always should be a 3-minute kind of entertaining film coming out of it. Sometimes you really feel like the rushes, and the raw material are much more important and actually amazing than the final result. So as a hobby, I just put together stuff that I think one day they can be seen as they are. So I can say I'm a collector in a way. I don't know, it's probably an obsession, It probably has a lot to do with the society of Iran, that you think things are changing all the time, and there's so many things that are probably they're living their last years. For example, the film that you're just going to see, the character passed away a couple of weeks ago, and this film is the only document of an artist. So, I'm more obsessed about, just recording that rather than the cinema. There are lots of projects that they haven't turned to films. There are projects that are lying there just as an archive project. Well, it was one of those, probably the most difficult project I worked on, because she was very camera shy, and this project took more than 2 years because it was very difficult to have her sitting in front of a camera and record her. But it was also a very good opportunity because, it gave me so much time to get close to her and get the information from her at the right time when she was prepared and I was prepared. So I can say there was a very climactic moment in that film. It was just getting to know her very slowly in a 2 or 3 year time, and making the film in that time actually. This was a very, a 2-person relationship. She didn't want anyone around, so it was kind of just making a relationship, recording while she was getting more prepared to talk about herself. And this is a way that I'm usually, I've been worked on that. I never worked with a huge crew and, direct. We're just trying to build relationships or ruin relationships and record them while doing that. Directing doesn't mean much in this kind of works. These are kind of human situations that there might be a camera there might not be a camera there. So either that situation works or not. If that situation works, then probably it's going to be a good film. It comes from the producer and how much they pay. Living in Iran, you really don't need inspiration. There's so many things, there's always so much projects that you always have, that it's not like, when I'm going to be inspired. It's more about when I get the time to do all these projects. So I never felt inspired, I just always felt that there's something that needs to be kind of document. My main source of livelihood is doing editing of documentaries. So I do that all the time, but I just did 2 of his films also, more as an operator than an editor, because he was a very good editor himself, and when you worked with him you were just like operating what he wanted to do. My own preference of his career is his documentaries from 80s actually. Those are the films that from the time that I was a kid and trying to discover the world around me, and those films are still my favorite ones and quite influential on my career. The film that I made after this one is kind of a tribute to Homework. It's one of his films from early 80s or mid 80s. So that is the part of the career that I'm really interested in. His career that I'm interested in. Well, my dream today is going to happen in 2 hours probably. If the film is being shown without any technical problems and the Q&A goes well, then I'm a happy man.